Hi there. Welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Last time well, honestly, we didn't make a ton of progress, if I'm being honest. We talked to Gina, and we learned a little bit more about Gregson and theorized that maybe, that that the crime scene was actually his office, or because apparently he would investigate on his own, by himself, with no one else around, which is a little bit weird, to be honest. But we still don't know that much for sure, other than that some street sellers also heard the gunshots. We talked to Ben Zeeks for a little bit. He was not very helpful, and was also a big jerk, a big smelly jack, as it were. So, if we're gonna, make progress in this case further, I guess we ought to look around. Now, normally, it's not an obvious hint, but normally, whenever Susado's like, "Oh, I don't believe we visited this place for some time," that's normally a hint of, normally, like, in text, like, you'll get an idea of where to go from, like, the characters talking, but this is normally a sign that there's, like, some other place we can go, or there's more that we can do in a given place, so I guess we're going back to Lord Strongheart's. Maybe he's got more information to share. The 1st of November, British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office. You've made a good time. Okay, I don't know who's talking here. I took an express train back to London. I can hear Lord Strongheart. Can you? Yes. It sounds as though he's talking to someone. Oh. So that was Kazuma, not a random redneck. My bad. Is everything in place? I had a private compartment on the train so I could check all the paperwork. So wait, let's go back to what he actually said. It's Kazuma-sama. Oh, man, it's fucking like swivel, like fucking statues. Ah, ha ha. Your timing is impeccable. It is. No doubt you have heard the sickening news about the Reaper's latest devilry. Yes, yes, I have. I'm sure you don't believe it, of course, though, Lord Strongheart. That Lord Van Zykes could have done such a thing to Inspector Gregson. I believe only in the facts. And the facts in this case point to one thing. The unavoidable accusal of Lord Van Zykes, or Lord Van Zeeks, for this crime. We must bring charges against the Reaper for taking the life of our legendary detective. Oh no, surely not. It's a truly regrettable situation. Tomorrow, the Forensic Science Symposium finally begins. And you're still on about that fucking symposium. At the very least, though, we can show the world our justice system's swift and equitable processes. So, does that mean the trial is tomorrow? Precisely. Precisely. Man, I wish I could do a slightly deeper voice, or, I don't know, a better, deeper voice than this, but, oh well. I'm doing what I can. No, I'm doing my best here. In fact, this is a fine opportunity for introductions. Kazuma. Trust me, we've been introduced before. Ah, ha. But of course, you're already acquainted, aren't you? Mr. Asogi here will be present at tomorrow's proceedings. leading the prosecution. Yeah, I had a feeling about that. Also, man, that fucking suit is really tight on you, Kazuma. I hope you're not too uncomfortable. Wait! What? Kazuma? As I'm sure you're aware, he's a very capable practitioner of law. Kazuma-sama? A prosecutor? Damn, he's just gonna be sitting there in the background just fucking mean-mugging us? Ah, man. Okay, so we can actually examine him. Hey, Kazuma, how's it going? I'm sorry for all the worry I've caused you, but it'll be alright now. Has your memory completely returned? Yes, completely. I remember everything. Oh, I didn't know we were going to start like a whole new conversation, but okay. Including what I was coming here to do. Right. Kazuma-sama, I can't tell you how happy I am to see you alive and well like this. But how did you come to be here in London when you were suffering from amnesia? It was a voice. This past year, I've been hearing it in my head constantly, saying the same thing over and over. Go to London. That's where your destiny awaits. You're hearing voices in your head, Kazuma, that told you to go to London and do law things? Are you sure you're okay? It was that voice that guided me here to London. I'm so sorry for what's happened. Anyway, my memory might have returned to me, but there's something that won't return to the way it was before. Huh? What do you mean? I'm a prosecutor now, so I'm sure our paths will cross again very soon. Huh. You've changed, Kazuma. And perhaps in more ways than one. Okay, well, new headcanon. The fall that Kazuma had, you know, he survived it. And he did regain his memories, but his accent completely changed as a result, and now he can't talk. He can't go back to talking the way he was before. That's the new rule, and I'm sticking to it, pal. Okay, so, okay, honestly, I don't want to waste his time with, well, maybe I'll show the armband. Or is he going to say the same thing as before? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I know. Sometimes I just like to see if they have any unique reactions. Because sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes you just want to know, you know? So, about tomorrow's trial, Mr. Lord Chief Justice God Emperor Strongheart. I'm sure you can imagine that tomorrow's trial will be closely followed all over London. In fact, no. People all over the Empire will be watching closely to see how it unfolds. There's no salvation for anyone in a trial prosecuted by the Reaper of the Bailey. And now, the Reaper himself will stand in the dock. Quite so. The public wants answers about the Reaper. Answers about how and why those who escaped conviction subsequently died mysterious deaths. But Lord Van Sykes firmly denies any involvement in such matters. And there have been thorough investigations that have proven him to be innocent. That's certainly true. Or it has been, at least. Until now. Ah! No, tomorrow's trial will mark the start of a new chapter in our country's great judicial history. So, Prosecutor Asogi, I mean, I'm pretty sure you had to study to be a prosecutor. Like, I know he was a lawyer before, but he was a defense lawyer. Like, I feel like you can't just, switch teams without any kind of, like, formal training or, like, practice, can you? So, Cosima will be prosecuting tomorrow. That's right. But he's a defense lawyer, Lord Strongheart. I mean, sorry, I got my voices mixed up there. Accomplished young law practitioners cannot pick and choose their roles. And imagine what it will mean for the prosecution to know the strategies commonly employed by the defense. A devastating combination, wouldn't you agree? Absolutely. I've no doubt at all that Cosima will be razor sharp as a prosecutor. But why Cosima-sama? There's surely many other highly skilled prosecutors in Great Britain. It was a personal request. I asked to be assigned to the trial. You asked for this? But why? It'll all become clear tomorrow. I'm guessing you intend to stand for the defense, don't you? You can read... You read my mind. Although, the Reaper appears to be turning down all offers of representation. I'm surprised such a personal request would have been upheld. It seems unprecedented. Quite exceptional, in fact. You are quite right, Miss Mikotaba. Tomorrow's trial will be unprecedented and exceptional in every way. After all, the accused is one of Britain's greatest prosecutors, the pride of the Empire. It would be unwise to give the public a reason to perceive it as a judiciary closing ranks. So that's why you're happy to let a foreigner handle the prosecution. Ryunosuke, let's say your skills have been honed. Well, let's say your skills have been honed. Okay, now I need to maintain the accent. Well, let's say your skills have been honed after Protestant law in this land for so many months. Cosima, I don't understand why you're being so hostile to me now. This isn't going to end well, my friend. Yeah, you're being kind of a jerk, a prosecutor. Let me tell you something. Oh, yes. We noticed that there was a gun at the scene of Inspector Gregson's death. Do you know if it belongs to Lord Van Zeeks? That would be a question for the lead detective investigating the scene. Well, the thing is, she wasn't sure, so she told me I should ask somebody higher up who might know. That's right, Mr. Naruhodo. Be direct. It's certainly a model that's issued to all personnel involved in law enforcement, yes. Which includes prosecutors, as I'm sure you can imagine. In that case, it could actually belong to the it could have actually belonged to the victim. No. Gregson had his gun on his person. What about Lord Van Zeeks? He claims it's currently not in his possession. What? According to his story, he lost it. In short, it's more than a little sus. But just because a gun in question is the same type as the defendant's is no proof that it's actually his. No, of course not. Nevertheless, the situation is grave for Lord Van Zeeks. Yeah, you could say that again. It doesn't look like we're going to glean much more here. Well, thank you very much, Lord Strongheart. Remember, tomorrow's trial will go down in our Empire's history. There's much you could learn from the public gallery. So I guess the implication is that you wouldn't consider us, you know, you would rather us not take the case, I suppose.
Hold it!
Oh, whoa. Was that you, Kazuma? Before you go, Ryunosuke. Oh? What is it, Kazuma? I just wanted to thank you. Kazuma-sama? What? You took my determination to heart and brought it with you over the ocean in my steed. And you carried out my role to perfection. You always were intent on studying British law in order to change our own justice system. It was your dream, Mr. Naruhodo. He didn't want that to die with you. Yes, but I had another purpose for coming here. Oh? I actually have a favor to ask. Which is... This trial I'll be prosecuting tomorrow. I'd like you to be there to see how it ends. Right in front of me, as a defense counsel. Why? What's this all about? I know you have what it takes. But Lord Van Sykes would never put his fate in my hands. On the contrary, he recognizes your talent. He does? It's not easy to see behind the facade sometimes. Here, have a look at this. Have a look at this. That's... Hey, look at that. It's Clint, Barack, and look at old Gregson there too. Having a nice smile off. A real smiley situation. That's Lord Van Zykes and Inspector Gregson. And a photograph that must have been taken some time ago, by the look of it. Yeah, he looks like a young boy, honestly. And who's the third person? Bro, who do you think? Come on, we saw Clint's portrait in his office. It was displayed very prominently in the detective's office. In Gregson's office, you mean? Your nose still does that weird thing, huh, Kazuma? Yes. What I'm trying to say is, if you really think you can trust the Reaper, you might find that some straight talking makes him take a different view. Take it. Gregson's photograph has been entered into the court record. I don't understand. Why are you giving me this? And why do you have it, man? And just hurry, Ryunosuke. Visiting hours at the prison are almost over. What the fuck are you doing, Kazuma? Well, nice to see you didn't have any issues with any of that just happened, Lord Strongheart. But yeah, I guess we'll go back to prison. I get to do that Van Zykes voice again. Lord Van Zykes is still reading that letter. Dude must be illiterate. Or maybe just a slow reader. We've been gone quite some time, though. Either he's an incredibly slow reader, or it's an incredibly long letter. I might even be able to read English faster than he can. Oh no, don't let him hear you say that. I was intending to ignore you entirely. But I can't turn a deaf ear to such an insulting Nipponese. Oh, sorry. I didn't think you'd hear that. I had the case notes brought to me in secret. I was reading them to pass the time. And here I thought you said they don't normally bring the notes, they don't bring case notes to suspects, generally. Yes, we heard that your trial is set for tomorrow. Which is none of your business. So, have you found a lawyer? How many times must I reiterate the same thing?
This has nothing to do with you.
In other words, no. We were just talking to Lord Strongheart, and the prosecutor for your trial has been decided.
I'd expect nothing less. Though I have no idea who it is.
It's going to be Kazuma Asogi.
Gah! Asogi?
That made the color drain from his face.
Ah, well then. It seems I'm going to have to engage in conversation with you again, after all.
Yeah, sorry about that. So, about Asogi.
10 years ago, my older brother, who was a director of prosecutions at the time, was murdered. And the killer, as you know, was a visiting student from the Far East. Not a single day goes by when I don't curse the name Asogi!
Genshin Asogi was Kazuma-sama's father.
So what cruel twist of fate is this now, 10 years later? The man's son is to crucify me in some kangaroo court.
I still don't understand why Lord Strongheart apprenticed Kazuma to you.
It's what he does. No doubt he knew the young man's true identity from the offset.
But what could he have been hoping to achieve? And let's not forget that it was only 8 days ago that Kazuma recovered from his amnesia. Why would Lord Strongheart assign his trial to somebody like that?
Asogi. That name is the very epitome of my bane. The bane that is you, Nipponese.
Right, your hatred of all us Japanese. Aw, man, now he's gonna talk about how his racism.
I'd only just been appointed as a prosecutor when it happened 10 years ago.
I forget, how old are you again? Oh yeah, 33, so you started being appointed as a prosecutor when you were 23. That's actually a relatively realistic amount of time, at least, you know, in the real world, as opposed to all the prosecutors who get their badges when they're like 12 in you know, the modern day.
My brother, Clint, the director of prosecutions, was hunting down a mass murderer.
The so-called professor.
Assigned to the investigation as his partner was a certain visiting student dispatched from Scotland Yard.
And that was Genshin Asogi.
Exactly. I developed a deep respect for the man. He seemed noble-minded and chivalrous in the extreme to me. But none of us saw the true nature of the man. So I lost everything when it happened. My esteemed brother, the people I believed in, and any semblance of right prevailing over wrong.
Oh, how awful.
To avenge my brother, I prosecuted in Asogi's trial. It wouldn't ordinarily have been allowed, but I beleaguered the ascribed prosecutor until he consented.
What do you mean by the ascribed prosecutor?
The man in charge of the the man in charge of the Professor case inquiry, Lord Mail Strongheart.
Wait, what? Lord Strongheart?
He was a highly accomplished prosecutor, but he agreed to relinquish the trial to me and act as my advisor instead. Since that time, he's the one person to whom I felt indebted.
I'm sure he must have seen your zeal for the case and recognized your potential as a prosecutor.
Anyway, time passed, but then earlier this year, who should arrive in London but you?
Ah, and,
of all things, as a lawyer.
I felt your animosity the first time I ever faced you in the courtroom. Your obvious, deep loathing of us Japanese.
I kept telling myself it was illogical. But for so many years, the hatred had festered inside me. I could no longer control it.
And I can understand why, now that I know the history.
But in the same way that I've long felt the Nipponese to be the bane of my life, to Kazuma Ozuki, I am the bane of his. The Reaper who sent his father to the gallows. He's looking for revenge, and he intends to take it in court tomorrow.
Yeah, I suppose that's fair.
Gregson's transfer to the Paris Police Prefecture had finally been arranged for the coming month. But he'll never make it to France now. It's a tragedy.
Oh yes, come to think of it, he did mention something about that, didn't he? I wonder, does it happen often? Being transferred internationally, I mean.
It's the first time I've ever encountered it.
Oh.
The Paris police welcoming an English detective is almost inconceivable.
Yeah, honestly, it does sound kind of strange to me. Like, I just don't think police are normally, like, transferred to other countries, you know, as, like, a matter of course, you know? Like, sure, you can, like, leave the country and then start working somewhere else, but for it to be, like, an official, like, thing where you get, you know, it seems hard to believe.
I can't imagine what kind of magic Gregson must have worked to put an arrangement in place.
It sounds like that mystery has even the Reaper perplexed. I'm afraid to say that we were very ignorant about Inspector Gregson's standing. We hear that he was considered something of a legend at Scotland Yard. But, man, that theme has a nice opening.
Again, it was 10 years ago that he first made a name for himself. By uncovering a decisive piece of evidence that exposed the professor's identity. If it wasn't for Gregson's singular approach to the case, the discovery would never have been made.
What sort of approach?
After my brother's life was taken, the inspector pushed for a full autopsy.
Oh my! 10 years ago? Why is that so surprising?
Autopsy was considered a desecration of the body at the time, and rarely performed. And my brother was, of course, a noble. That made the idea of it even more unthinkable. But something Gregson had dug up in his investigations made him determined it was necessary. His powerful conviction somehow influenced the House of Lords, and as a result, I could avenge my brother's death.
So, you must have had great confidence in the inspector's abilities then. And it's even more inconceivable that you would have taken his life.
I don't have confidence in anyone.
Oh.
And I'm sure Gregson felt the same way. I've no doubt he thought of me only as the ominous Reaper, just like the rest of London.
What really went on between Lord Van Zykes and Gregson, I wonder? What was the true nature of their relationships? That's a good question. About the gun used to shoot the inspector that was found at the scene.
Ah, yes. That's not mine.
Really? Because common opinion seems to be that it is.
What do you expect me to say to that?
Lord Strongheart informs us that you claim to have misplaced your firearm. That seems uncharacteristically irresponsible of you, to be honest.
As embarrassing as that is, I'm afraid it's true.
When did you lose it, then?
That, I don't know.
Oh.
I was issued with a revolver when I first became a prosecutor 10 years ago.
Man, that's weird. I mean, you hear about the, cops and detectives having guns, but you normally don't hear about prosecutors being assigned guns, you know?
I must have stowed it somewhere, I suppose. Or left it somewhere, perhaps.
That's not very helpful. You have something in common with Lord Van Zykes, after all, Mr. Naruhodo. A talent for misplacing things. No! This has nothing to do with me. Don't drag me into it.
Don't make the mistake of associating me with this, Nipponese.
Oh dear. The rift is very wide, isn't it? So it's not decisive evidence, clearly. But it doesn't look good, that's for sure. Well... To be honest, I think I know what we need to do next, or what we can present next. But... I don't know, it's not a neat way to end things, but this episode's already going a little long, and I don't know how much longer it'll be once I show him what I need to show him. So I think we're gonna have to save it for the next episode. I'm sorry about that. Normally I like to leave off on, nice little cliffhangers, or just, moments that make sense. This is kind of a, more of a... Well, I guess this is a cliffhanger, but, I like it to be nice moments, where it makes sense to leave off. But it can't really be helped in this case. So, in the next episode, we'll show Van Zykes exactly what Gregson really thought of him, using the evidence that we have at our disposal. But until then, I'll see you around.